Jabber talk, jabber talk. Jabber, 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 jabber talk. Jabber talk, jabber talk. Jabber, 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 jabber talk. Miss Jabber, Miss Jabber, Jabber talk.
Welcome to Jabber Talk podcast. We are back. Yes, we're back. Yes, we're back. I'm Jacqueline Malcolm, your host. And of course, there is always a pixie on the pod.
Every time you say pod, I think you're saying pole. I am not dancing on the pole.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. I wish I could. I wish I had that kind of athletic ability to do pole dancing.
Listen, I did it once when we lived in California.
Yeah.
It was absolutely brilliant. 2-hour class. And I was this size when I did it.
Yeah.
2-hour class. And I was able to do 2 turns on the pole.
Wow.
But I tell you what.
Was that walking on the floor and just holding onto it?
We can either listen or learn. What do we say every day to you, Pixie? We can either listen or learn, or
be a pixie.
we can be a sarcastic Neville Pixie. So, yes, no. You have to do like an hour of strength building and core building. Pole dancing is all about the core. Why am I describing pole dancing when we're not here to do that?
Well, this is what we do. This is how our conversations go. We go a little to the left and a little to the right. Up and down like we're dancing on a pole.
So, okay, but today actually we want to talk about the Black Lives Matter movement.
Yeah.
And because, you know, it's in your face. You cannot be anywhere on this planet. No, maybe there was quite a few places where you can be on the planet. But in the Western world, you can't be anywhere without it hitting you right in the middle of the eye. Black Lives Matter. And that has now been trending. I can only call it a trend. I can't call it a social movement.
No.
Not at this stage. Not yet. At the moment, we can only call it. Nothing's changed. Absolutely nothing's changed.
It's like everyone's just waiting for the next name.
The next
to be
thing.
added to the list.
Exactly. Because it's like Extinction Rebellion. Let's, go green, everybody. Then suddenly everybody was for it and out there doing it. Next thing now, the public are dragging the people off the train because they just want to get to work.
Yeah.
It's a trend. At the moment, it's a trend. It's not being taken very seriously. Now, why do I say that? Because Black Lives Matter has been around since 2013. It was set up by 3 young black women in the response to the acquittal of some police officers in the murder of Trayvon Martin.
Right.
So he was the guy who had shot the man, the boy.
Yeah.
Innocent boy, shot him dead just because he was walking in a certain neighbourhood. Yeah. Shot him dead, and then he gets acquitted. Not guilty.
He wasn't armed or anything.
And he wasn't armed, wasn't a danger, nothing. He was literally just walking in the area. So they set up this foundation. Well done, 3 black women. Now, I personally, you see, have been sharing Black Lives Matter, at least for the last 2-3 years. Sharing incidences of videos that we've captured.
It's like at least 5 years. You've been doing it a while.
Yes, I have, admittedly. And it's like sharing videos, sharing the thoughts, the abuse, the injustice of particularly black men, black women who have been strong-armed, 6 men, 6 police officers on 1 woman, on 1 man. And it's like, wait. It doesn't matter what the crime is. The reaction is over the top. Yeah. And this is what I've always said. They've always been unarmed. They've already been captured, and they've already been, when they've been detained.
Yeah.
And yet they're still being abused. They're still being kneeled on. And I've been sharing this for years. Normally what I get is a slew of normally white male who will then explain to me why all lives matter, why I shouldn't be saying this, why they really shouldn't be resisting arrest. And I keep saying they're not resisting arrest.
They've already been arrested.
Thank you. They're trying to fight for their lives because they know if they get into the system, they're not coming back out of the system because it's unjust. I've been pressed and said, that can't be true. It's not right. I've told them go look at the statistics. Even the Met at the very top themselves say, yeah, we are institutionally racist and we are trying to address it. And yet it doesn't happen ground level. It's like I work with some of, real great universities who really care about, students from all over the world. And yet when I speak to those students, they talk to me about the racist experiences they have in that same university, who are applauding themselves for being so diverse.
Right.
So there's something that happens at the top.
They count the diversity with the numbers, not with the reactions or the experience.
Exactly. And so at the moment, we're seeing a trend. And I realise I'm doing all the talking. So do you want to say about why Black Lives Matter suddenly came back?
Yeah.
You tell that part, because I realise I'm doing all the talking. That's not fair. Sorry.
I'm
very passionate about this.
That's life, and I would just jump in. I would just like to say in a... because I like watching stand-up in my little isolated world. Chris Rock did his set called Tambourine, and he was talking about like Black Lives Matter and everything. And then he was saying, we say that the young black man, they say he's an endangered species. And he goes, no, he's not. They're not. He goes, if they were an endangered species, the government would be protecting them.
Brilliant.
And that's totally what it's about. It's like no one seems to think that there's a problem. They get all defensive, saying, well, they used to get all defensive before it became on trend.
Exactly.
Before lockdown. Exactly. And everyone had nothing else to do but to actually stop and read and get involved.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, this is my point. It's like, what happened to George Floyd was absolutely appalling. American man, bouncer who had, whether he did it on purpose or not, we don't know, but he gave a fake £20 note. $20 note inside a shop. We could be using fake 20s all day long. We don't know. Because if you don't know what a fake looks like, you just don't know. But he was known to the community. He worked. And so he was someone who was contributing to society. He wasn't somebody who was just, up to his head on drugs or whatever. He was contributing to society. He was not a criminal. And so he used the $20. The guy behind this counter decided to call the police on him and not just address it. He decided to call the police on him.
He did try to address it, but then George said, well, no, I didn't know it was false, but refused, like I would. If a shop or somebody told me it was false and refused to take it or refused to take my money, well, I'll probably go to the bank. I would want my money back from someone. Someone somewhere needs to give me my money back, especially in a pandemic when no one's allowed out. So he was probably not working. If he was a bouncer, his place would have been closed down.
Exactly.
So $20 is a lot of money.
Yeah, but even so, that is an argument between the two of you.
Yeah.
If you don't want to take if you check it and it's fake, then you give him the 20 back.
Yeah.
There is no argument.
Right.
There is no argument. If you've given someone a fake and they realise it's a fake, you have to take it back. It's yours.
Yeah.
Because it's a fake. Then you take it to the bank. But either way, of course what happened to him was appalling, disgusting, but I've seen worse. And I've seen worse.
Yeah.
And it's like we've seen black men who the police told to show them their driving license, pulled them over to the side of the road, said, show me your driving license. And he said, I will, but I need to reach into my, the glove compartment to do so. Reaches into the glove, and he said, and that's what he said, and there's a gun in there, because of course it's America, they're allowed to carry guns. Then there was a gun in there, but I am going to do that. It's all captured on video because the wife is sitting right next to him with their child in the back of the seat, explaining it. And so then he reaches, and as soon as he opens it, he gets shot in the chest 3 times. Shouting at gun, gun, gun. He told him there was a gun. He was just reaching for his license and did it in front of his wife. So the man dies on her lap. Yeah. And then in front of their child. So it's like we've seen worse. We've seen this for years going on. And so then suddenly I noticed that Black Lives Matter suddenly became on trend and everyone's suddenly getting involved. And then suddenly you see the riots, and it's like, well, wait a minute, when you look at the crowds of the riots, well, lo and behold, who is starting the riots?
Yeah.
They were normally Caucasian.
Mhm.
And so it's like, okay, so then white people are starting the riots. Why are they there to start riots? Why aren't they there to just march and
Right.
talk? This isn't making any sense. And then, of course, the conversation then gets turned from Black Lives Matter to, oh, why are you rioting? Look, you see, you're all animals, because that's what they want. But then, because now we're filming everything, then suddenly you see how organised it is. Suddenly you capture a white man who's just walking along. No one's rioting at this point. It's right at the beginning of the protests, which everybody protests about everything around the world. So it was right at the beginning of the protest where they were just marching. There's this white man going around just breaking all of the shop windows. And it's like he got followed by black people saying, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? Stop that. And he runs off. Then they find another place where there's a crate outside this big bank, a crate of bricks. Crate of bricks just sitting there. It's like, well, there was no building works going on. And yet there's an organised crate of bricks ready for whoever's going to come and suddenly start breaking these windows. So all of this rioting is instigated to make out that we are animals, that we don't know how to just protest. And what I found personally, this is why I'm doing a lot of the talking, because it's a very passionate subject. But I found that all of these people who would normally say to me, no, Jackie, don't say Black Lives Matter, were all suddenly saying all lives matter. I mean, or would normally say to me, all lives matter. We're now all on their site saying Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
So this is my point. Not one of those people who, when I was saying Black Lives Matter, and I was saying it out of my pain, because this is my community being hurt.
Yeah.
These are my brothers and sisters and cousins and aunties and uncles and fathers. It's my community being hurt. When I said it, I was wrong. And I was told to shut up, don't say that. If you're going to say it, say all lives matter. It's not the Christian thing to do to say Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
What are you doing? So this is what I got, but now they're saying it. And not one of them come back to me and said, you know what, Jackie, you know all those years when you kept posting it and I kept saying, don't say that. Well, I see now what you mean. And I'm so sorry that I said that to you. I shouldn't have said that to you. And I'm learning. No, not one of them crossed my page to say that to me. Instead, what I'm getting is this attitude of, well, shouldn't you just be grateful?
Right.
Shouldn't you now, at least now we're listening, shouldn't you really just be grateful? Well, I want to say very, very clearly, no, I'm not grateful.
Right.
I am not even slightly grateful. Shame on you for thinking that I'm going to be grateful. When they stopped the slave trade back in 1860s, it was the exact same thing. They had abused us for 400 years.
Yeah.
Abused us, made us property, less than human, just so they could continue to abuse us. When they decided then that it suited their agenda to stop the slave trade, the attitude was, well, we freed you now. Why are you still complaining? Why aren't you grateful? We're not grateful because there's been no apology.
Yeah.
There's been no acknowledgement that you should have done that in the first place. So this is why I think this is a trend.
Like it's a handout.
It's a handout. Oh, look, we're giving you a hand. When it's all done, it's like that thing, pets aren't just for Christmas, they're for life. Black Lives Matter isn't just for lockdown.
Right.
It's for life. And so unless you're saying that forever, you're going to start looking at yourself and checking yourself to say, why am I racist? Why am I so racist? Why do I believe that I am better than a black person? What gives me that right to think these things? Then no, do not expect me to ever look you in the eye and say, thank you for getting on board with my course.
Yeah.
Because you don't get what we've been through. We've been through this all our lives. You've just come into the picture.
Right. You think you have the answers and think you have that you're dealing with the few who aren't right, who aren't getting it right.
Thank you.
But we all have it on different levels where we have mindsets, and it's these mindsets that are racist or judgmental, or and it's the mindsets that create our actions and create our activities and make us move different ways. And so that's why you'll have someone on one side saying, well, I'm not racist, and yet their behaviour is doing racist things, is creating a racist environment. But they'll swear blind that they're not racist, and they believe it. They believe in their heart that they're not, but they've been taught these mindsets about how you do things, or about what certain races, how they're going to behave, what these stereotypes are that are set in. And, I know I always say that stereotypes come from somewhere, but we act according to those stereotypes and mindsets that we've been taught. And unless we start doing self-examination as into why, I think in a way, I know racism is the right word, but it's a dangerous word in that, because it's so negative. People don't want to refuse to accept that it's to do with them. And so they don't investigate, well, am I racist? Because that's like saying, am I a murderer?
Exactly.
Am I a psychopath?
And they don't want to acknowledge it.
People don't want to acknowledge that they're selfish. Exactly. Am I selfish? So it's just, we all need to.
We have to. It's like, I do a lot of work with universities. One of the universities, they were started this alumni award of the month, which is wonderful. But then when we looked at who they were actually awarding, for the first 4 months, it had only just started. So for the first 4 months, all those who got the award were white, female, brown hair. So I was like, wrong. Something's gone wrong.
Yeah.
So why? And there's, it's not our fault, Jackie, because we don't look at the pictures. And we don't even look at the names. We literally just go by the story. So this is not a racist situation here, because we didn't even, they just happened to be who turned up. And I said, no, the problem is you have a one-track mind on what's a good story.
Yeah.
You need more people around the table to understand my story is going to be very different to your story. Good point. It's not that you're racist, but you don't have an appreciation for wider stories. So you know what is a good Spanish story, what is a good New Zealand story, what is a good Jamaican story, what is a good African story. You don't know. That's why you're going to keep saying this white British story is good. So I even said, what's the background? These were hoping that they would tell me, one's bisexual, one's disabled, one's from Spain. So because you can't go by colour. It could have been a very diverse group. Turned out it wasn't. Turned out they literally all were white, British, young girls.
Yeah.
And so, of course, so you're saying that you like that story. And that's why you're getting this.
Recognise it because it's your story.
There you go. There you go. So this is what I mean. That's what I mean. I don't see yet the societal change. I just see a trend.
A trend. That's what it is. They've got nothing else to do, so nothing to post about because they've got no lives.
There you go. So
you can only post so many pictures of food, and not even going to eat out.
Exactly. So brilliant that Black Lives Matter has had some amazing exposure, and the issues have forced some great discussions.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of good is going to come out of this. I will not be surprised if half the people who are really gung-ho now will then just fall silent, because it's a long road. Black Lives Matter is a long road. It's not a quick
silent because they think they've done their bit.
Their part, exactly.
They've marched.
Exactly.
And so, done my bit. But no, it goes way deeper.
There you go. So my answer to all of this is thank you, but no thank you. That's how I feel.
But do more. Do the real thing, and that is the self-examination.
Yes. Yes, because my no thank you is not no thank you, don't do it. It's I'm not thanking you for what you're doing. Yeah. We shouldn't even be here in the first place. Okay. I think
what does that mean?
I think definitely. We put the world to right. We put the world to right. We put the world to right. We put the world to right.